We're coming towards the end of the 5 lectures on the Kaam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar. I think we've covered some really interesting areas, especially around the ego, around anger and attachment and things like that. But this is a subject that I think is going to be a very difficult subject to address. And today's lecture is going to be on Kaam. And this is personally something that I've received a lot of messages about from young guys who are struggling to understand how to work with their own Kaam and what they can and can't do, and just really sort of their youth is sort of something that they're really struggling with to kind of deal with these emotions. So this is why I've specifically requested that there's no young children here, because we are going to be very mature and we're going to be talking about some very serious ideas. The very nature of Kaam is graphic, but I'm not going to there's not going to be any images or anything like that, but certainly the concepts that we're going to be covering are certainly very mature. So it requires us to kind of take a very mature approach to this. There are 2 things here. One is Kaam, and sexuality is a wider context. So we're going to be focusing on Kaam, but hopefully that'll give you an understanding of how we differentiate between Kaam and sexuality. Obviously it falls under the umbrella subject of sexuality. But what we're not going to be covering is the wider topics around sexuality. So that would include sex before marriage, that would include homosexuality, some of these kind of more controversial things. That's not what we're going to be covering today. Today it's just about the raw emotion of Kaam and how do we understand it and all those sort of things. So there is a lot of confusion on this subject. You hear a lot of different opinions. A lot of people want to talk about it, but we're not really set up in a way that we feel comfortable that we can talk to each other. We're not sure that this is a subject that we can talk about. So my approach to this particular talk, like in some of the other talks that we've had, it's been very discussion led and it's been very open and everyone's allowed to give their opinions, and I think that's great for certain things. This particular one, because there's so much confusion, I've tried to use as much Gurbani as possible. We're going to go through a lot of slides with a lot of quotes to try and understand this. So hopefully you'll see that it's in quite a logical structure. So we'll look at the questions that we're going to answer, some of the conclusions that we get to using Gurbani, and then some follow-on questions from that. So this isn't going to be one of those talks where everybody is allowed to kind of just give their opinion on it. Not because I'm the authority, but I think that that's just the most sensible way to deal with this subject, because everybody's so emotionally invested in this subject that we will be giving it from our own personal experience and our own personal. But that doesn't mean that discussions are off. But what I'm trying to say is we've actually got quite a lot to go through, and there's a lot of slides with a lot of quotes from Gurbani. So hopefully that will really set the context for us to understand this subject from all the different angles that we can possibly understand this. So that's just sort of me letting you know how much we're going to be going through. And of course this is very, very mature, and the key thing here is that nothing that we cover today is any form of judgment. There's no judgment here. There's nothing here that I say that you should feel offended by, or you should feel like, oh, he's saying that I can do this or I can't do that. And the other thing I want to say is that this particular presentation is only my understanding. From having done my research, this is my understanding. Feel free to disagree, but feel free to also respectfully allow me to give my interpretation. Yeah, I'm going to give you my understanding of this, having tried to think about this from different age groups, different perspectives as much as possible. But ultimately, I'm only going to be able to give it from my skewed understanding. So there's no judgment, but let's allow for a very healthy exchange of ideas in today's talk. So what are we going to cover today? Today I want to cover what is the Gurmat definition of Kaam. This sounds like a really simple question, but I spent more time on this presentation trying to actually understand what is the definition of Kaam, what is Kaam and what isn't Kaam. I spent more time on this question than anything else, and I thought that that was like the quick one, the obvious one, and actually then we go on to some of the other areas that we're going to look at today. But we're going to spend a lot of time trying to understand what is Kaam, how do we understand this. Then I want to go into a bit more of the psychology of human beings. Why do we have Kaam? What is it useful for? And what does it do to us? We generally know that Gurbani takes a negative view on the word calm. As a general rule, we talk about calm as one of the 5 vices or the 5 weaknesses, your calm, krodh, lobh, moh, ahankar. But why is it bad for us? Why is it seen as negative? What real impact is it having on us? There's a really important thing that I hear time and time again, which is this argument that some people say, you need a little bit of calm. Yeah? A lot of people say, oh, if you don't have calm, then there'll be no procreation. So again, I want to address this issue that do we need to completely eradicate calm, or do we just need to reduce it? And again, hopefully these are the kind of questions that you've all kind of come across before. So I want to address that today. And the most important part of this lecture is going to be solutions to dealing with our calm. That when calm arises, how do we deal with that? So, what is the definition of calm itself? If we take an English definition, most of the time in the translations we translate calm to be lust. So first, let's look at the definition of lust. What is lust? If we look at lust in a dictionary definition, these are some of the things from lots of different dictionaries I've put together. Intense sexual desire or appetite. So the key word being intense, some extreme sexual desire. Uncontrolled or illicit sexual desire or appetite. So this is me looking at lots of different dictionaries at how does the dictionary define the word lust. Yeah? So straight away we're seeing that the word lust isn't sexual appetite, it's an uncontrolled sexual appetite. That's how lust is defined. It's unrestrained or excessive indulgence of sexual desire. So notice these words here. This is how the English dictionaries are defining lust. Unrestrained, excessive, uncontrolled, intense, an overpowering craving or desire. So the last one is lust is a strong emotional feeling. Lust can take any form, such as the lust for sex, lust for expensive objects, extravagance, or lust for power. So again in English we do see that the word lust is not just used with a sexual connotation, but it's actually used like you have a lust for life, or he's got lust for power. So any overarching power, control over you, that's making you head in one particular direction. It can take such mundane forms as the lust for food, as distinct from the need for food. So you can have a need for food, or you can have a lust for food. Yeah, this is all the English definition. We haven't even got into the Gurbani yet, but it's really important to understand. This is all from Wikipedia. Lust is a psychological force producing intense wanting for an object or circumstance fulfilling the emotion. Now, what I found really interesting when I was looking at Guru Granth Sahib Ji is that it's very difficult within Gurbani to get a definition of calm. Gurbani talks about calm, Gurbani talks about the issues to do with calm, but it's very difficult to actually find what is calm. Say, Guruji, what is the meaning of calm? Can you define calm for us? So what I did, which I tend to do a lot when I'm looking at Gurbani, is I understand that Gurbani uses the language of the people. And if Gurbani is using the language of the people, I've gone back into some of the older Hindu scriptures that have talked about calm and say, well, how were the people talking about calm before Guruji came along? So the oldest of the scriptures that we know of in Hindu mythology and philosophy is the Vedas, and the Rig Veda uses the word calm. So the word calm originates from Hindu scriptures. In the Rig Veda, calm is describes the creation of the universe comes from calm. That's really interesting. The whole universe was created out of calm. And it says thereafter rose desire in the beginning, and desire was the primal seed and germ of spirit. So what it's talking about is Waheguru Akal Purakh in its empty Nirgun form, in the form where Waheguru was just on its own, with no form. Waheguru had a desire to create. And so that's how the Rig Veda uses the word calm. It says Waheguru had a calm, a desire. So here we can see that the word calm doesn't just mean a sexual desire, it's any sort of primal desire. So what we can say is your root instinct. So calm we can define as your instinct or your intentions. one of the oldest Upanishads. So I don't know if you know the Hindu structures of scripture. The oldest scripture is the Vedas, and then the more spiritual aspects of the Vedas came a bit later in books called the Upanishads. One of the oldest ones is one of the oldest Upanishads of Hinduism uses the term KAAM as desire. So KAAM in the Upanishads means a deep-rooted impulse of God, God's desire, but it also talks about mankind having KAAM as desire. It says man consists of KAAM, desire. As his desire, so is determination. As is determination, so is his deed. Whatever his deed, that he attains. So it says that how humanity works, this is according to the Upanishads, that first we have a desire. When that desire comes, I feel like doing something. Then comes determination. Now I definitely want to do this. Like I can't think of anything else. From desire comes intention. From intention becomes a thought, like I'm going to do this now. From thought leads to action. From action leads to destiny. Like you do something and then your consequence comes out of that. So that structure is being defined, that's how mankind works. And we can see that on basic example. Even if the desire comes, I'm hungry. Then it goes from the desire into your thought. I think I should make myself a sandwich. Action, you go and make the sandwich, and then the reaction is whatever it happens. You get full, you get sick, whatever it is, right? Depending on what kind of sandwich you made. Okay? So this is very important for us to understand that Guru Granth Sahib Ji borrows terminology, but we have to understand how was that terminology used in the older Granths. Then, probably the most important text on the subject of KAAM is the KAAM Sutra, or in English we call it the Kama Sutra. Unfortunately, in the West, that has been described as the sex manual. Yeah? But if you read it, it is the most boring thing you will ever read. It is not a sex manual at all. In fact, it covers lots of other things, like what kind of woman is a suitable match for a different kind, what kind of man. So it talks about all sorts of things. It talks about the role of men, the roles of women in society, the role of men and women in relationships. So sex is one part of the Kama Sutra, which is very important as well, because in the West, we tend to trivialize lust and Kaam. In the East, we've always understood it as a very mature subject. We don't just say, ooh, sex, ooh, that's bad, that's titillating, that's erotic. We don't see it in that form. Yeah, in the East, in the old Eastern mature thinking, but in the West, Kama Sutra is like if you want to spice up your relationship, then you get the Kama Sutra. But actually, if you look at it, it's very interesting how it talks about it there. The most interesting thing at the beginning of the Kama Sutra, it defines what Kaam is. In the Kama Sutra, it says Kaam is the enjoyment of appropriate objects by the five senses. Anything that you enjoy with your senses, according to the Kama Sutra, is Kaam. And then it says those senses has the touch of something, the taste of something, the sound of something, but the enjoyment happens in the mind. So Kama Sutra says that there's a relationship. In order for Kaam to occur, there needs to be three things. There needs to be the object, an organ for you to feel or engage with that object, like sound or music. So music is fine, but you use your ears to listen to that music. And the third thing that you need is the mind to appreciate that music. So Kaam requires three things. It needs a sense organ, it is the thing that you need to feel, and it's the feeling of pleasure. So the three things. Now, more interesting than that is that the Kama Sutra and old Hindu Granths have said that there are four things essential for mankind to live in the world. Dharam, Arth, Kaam, Moksha. Four things that you need in life. Dharam, you need to have morals, you need to have a sense of righteousness, purpose in your life. Arth means enjoyment of worldly things, like it's okay to earn money, it's okay to taste good food, it's okay to have wealth and to enjoy good clothes. Arth, yeah? So it puts things like the enjoyment of arts, the enjoyment of music, painting, and theatre. That goes into the category of Arth. Kaam is the enjoyment of everything, actually enjoying life. That's part of the Hindu mentality, that you need these four things. And the final thing that you need is to liberate yourselves from these three things. Moksha, mukti, self-actualization. In Gurbani, that is known as the Char Padarat. Gurbani references exactly these four things, and in Sukhmani Sahib we say, Char Padarat Jeko Mange, Sad Jana Ki Seva Lage. That if you want these four things, it's fine to want them, but we get them in the Seva of the Sad Sangat. Specifically, Bhai Gurdas Ji actually mentions these four things, and even in Gurbani, Bilawal, Arth Taram Kaam Mokh Ka Data. Here it's talking about Satguru. Satguru is the giver of all these things. So Guruji here isn't saying don't have Taram, don't have Arth, don't have Kaam, and don't have Moksha. It's not saying that. It's saying if you want it, you're not going to find it in the world. The Guru is going to give you all the Arth that you need, all the Taram you need, all the Kaam that you need, and all the Mukti that you need. Yeah? So it's very interesting to see how do we structure this, our life, how do we structure human life, and how do we place Kaam within it. It's seen as one of the enjoyments that's allowed. Now when we've looked at the other texts, we've looked at English, we've looked at the Hindu scriptures, now let's look at Gurmat and Gurbani. One of the most important texts that we have in order to understand words within Gurbani is called the Mahan Kosh. Mahan Kosh means the great encyclopedia, and it's written by somebody called Khan Singh Nabha about 100 years ago. A very useful text when you want to understand the meaning of words. So it is a dictionary. Every word of Guru Granth Sahib and all famous places, all famous people within our itihas, within our history, is documented within there. According to the Mahan Kosh, the Encyclopedia of Sikhi, Kaam has many different meanings. The word Kaam. The word Kaam can mean come, your work. Kaam means come, and that too in Hindi we say kaam, and Punjabi is like kam karo, right? And in Gurbani we say sabte uttam har har kaam. That means work. That the most important work to do is har har, is to that's the praise of Paramatma. Another meaning of the word kaam is kamana. Kamana means to desire, any desire. Any time that you want to desire something comes from the word kamana. Gurbani specifically uses kaam to mean lust as well, which is kaam, krodh, ahankar, tajay. For example, Guru Arjan Dev Ji has a lot of reference to the word kaam, krodh, and kaam, krodh, lobh, moh, ahankar. The word kaam also means an idea. It also means useful. Avar kaj tere kite na kaam. There it means that nothing else is more useful, yeah, and than doing Sad Sangat and Naam. So what we can say straight away, remember we're still answering the first question. The first question is, what is Kaam? We can say, according to Gurbani, Kaam is not always referencing sexuality. Yeah, Kaam is extended to mean all desires. Yeah, in certain cases. This is what I mean. We are going to go through a lot of slides, and there's going to be a lot of Gurbani, but I feel it's a useful exercise to be so methodical in this way. So how do we define Kaam as the Five Thieves? Let's look at the Kaam as the Five Thieves itself. In Sukhmani Sahib, Guru Arjan Dev Ji says the definition of Gursik, Partreya Roop na Pekhe Netre. So the definition of a Gursik is one who does not see the woman of another person with their eyes. They don't try and lustfully look at any other woman apart from their own wife, their own woman. Who does not look at the roop? Yeah? Most of the time we're not looking at women, we're looking at the beauty of women. Yeah? We're looking at something and saying we desire that beauty. Who does not gaze upon the beauty of others women with their eyes? And the Shabad goes on, it says Gur Prasad Bikhya Par Hare. By the Guru's grace they get rid of this poison. Man ki basana, basana vashna means desire. Man ki basana man te tare. So now Guruji is talking about desires that we have to get rid of. Yeah, so we've said that Kaam means lots of different things, but actually there is a certain type of Kaam that we have to get rid of. Indri jit panch dokh te rahat. The one who conquers his five senses, and is free of his five sorrows, so the five thieves, yeah? Nanak kot made ko aisa aparas. Guru Nanak Dev Ji saying that, oh Nanak, among millions, rare is such an untouched person, the one who is not touched by their desires. So here, Kaam is specifically being described here. So what I'm doing here is looking for a definition of Kaam according to Gurbani. Here it's saying that looking and desiring another woman is the definition of Kaam, which we can say is part of lust, yeah? Is that you want something, you desire something that's not yours, you can't control how you think about them. That's the meaning of Kaam. So as we go on, we actually realize that the translation of the word Kaam into lust is actually quite a good translation. Yeah? A lot of the times you see translation, you think that's not the right word. But as we go on, we'll see that actually lust is quite an appropriate word for Kaam, specifically when we're talking about Kaam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar. Now, an important question. Is all sexual activity considered Kaam? What do you think? Yes or no? Is all sexual activity considered Kaam? According to Gurbani, sex is not a sin. Having sex, having sexual relationships is not a sin because, as we've talked about before, there is no human birth without sex. And Gurbani specifically talks about sex. It talks about mother and father combining their cells, and without that we can't be born. So Gurbani says sex and procreation is perfectly fine and normal. The reason I'm making this statement very clear is because there are religions that say sex is a sin. Let's be clear about this. Christianity says all sex is a sin, and the way that they position that is that to say that your very birth, the very moment that you're born, you are sinful because your parents had sex to give birth to you. So let's just position, where does Sikhi stand on this? Yeah? Our birth is not a sin. And the way they counter that is that there is one Mahapurush, Jesus Christ, who was born from a virgin mother. His mother never had sex, and she gave birth to him. So he is the only Pavitr, pure one. We are all impure. Gurbani does not place us in that same position. Gurbani doesn't say that our gurus were born from parents who didn't have sex. Okay, so it's very important to understand how Gurbani, what is the Gurbani paradigm? What's the Gurbani worldview? And Gurbani Bhagat Kabirji uses the specific analogy of sperm, of semen, mixing with the ovary. Okay, so there's a shabad. Pani mela, mati gori. Pani mela, the cloudy water, that's the semen. And the red vessel, the clay vessel, that's the womb of the mother. When the cloudy water of the father and the red vessel of the mother mix together, is mati ki putri jori. This body, which is a puppet of clay, is made by the union of semen and womb. Main nahi kach ahe na mora. This is very interesting. Bhagat Kabirji uses the sex of his parents to realize that actually, what am I? I'm not even in charge of my own birth. Like, I'm nothing. He says I'm nothing because I'm just a combination of my parents' cells. So it's a very interesting technique to kill your own ego, to understand that my physical body is nothing to do with me. It's actually because my parents got together that I'm here. Main nahi kach ahe na mora. I'm nothing, nothing is mine. Tan man dab, tan man sab ras gobind tora. My body, all my possessions, and all pleasure belongs to you. Yeah, even pleasure within my mind is not created. So the body, the wealth, and every pleasure of life, O Lord of the universe, is yours. Is mati mein pavan samaya. Within this body of clay, life has been infused. Remember, he's not saying this is my life. He's saying this is not my life, this is not my body, and even the life energy has been infused into this clay vessel. Chutha par panch jor chalaya. So combining all of these elements, you've created this thing, and this thing is false. So Kabirji is destroying his ego by recognizing how insignificant his life has been and how little influence he's had on his own birth. But the point to mention is that they're openly talking about sex. Kabirji was married, Kabirji had children as well. So a very interesting lecture, if you want to understand the subject of sexuality within Sikhi, is by the Sikh Research Institute, Harinder Singh. On YouTube, he's got a very interesting lecture that talks about the wider subject, which is sexuality, which does cover things like sex and bisexuality, homosexuality, all those kind of concepts are covered in there. And in there, Bhai Harinder Singh Ji says that Gurbani celebrates common sexual practices. Gurbani actually celebrates the fact that we have sex. And he says that that practice of sex within marriage, he celebrates it at the highest level as using sex between a husband and wife as a relationship between Gursikh and Paramatma. Between man and God, Gurbani approves. This is Bhai Harinder Singh's conclusion, who I have a lot of respect for because he's got a lot of knowledge. And he says Gurbani approves a loving sexual activity. So this is what he's trying to imply, that a loving sexual activity within a husband and wife married thing is actually not just not frowned upon, it's actually celebrated, it's okay. So we don't need to have any doubt in our mind that our sexual relationships within monogamy, within a healthy sexual relationship with our marriage is in somehow dirty, it's somehow bad, we have to feel ashamed for it. You know, you don't have to think, I've just had sex with my wife, now I can't go and do my nitnem, now I can't go to the Gurdwara. We don't have any of that kind of thinking. And I think it's very important for us to get over some of our guilt that we sometimes feel. So Gurbani approves loving sexual activity in married life by using it to describe the divine relationship. So I do encourage you to go on YouTube and see Sexuality in Sikhi. It's a very important lecture. Guru Amar Das Ji says, and this is an example of how now Gurbani uses the sex of a husband and a wife as a relationship between man and divine. Gurbani says, Sej Suhavi Sada Pir Rave Sach Sigar Banavanya. Guruji is saying that I have made a beautiful bed. Now this is using the analogy of a woman who has made her bed and she's lying there waiting for her husband to come and have sex with her. Yeah, I'm using the word sex quite openly here. Yeah, because I don't want to sugarcoat this word. Oh, they make love. Oh, they ravish. Let's just be open about this. Yeah, this is not a bad term, and we need to get over some of our guilt of these words. Bed is beautiful, and she ravishes and enjoys her husband, Lord, forever. Look at the language. The girl lies in the bed, and she's ravishing her husband. Her husband is ravishing her. So it's using quite graphic words to imply that when I connect with Paramatma, it's like Paramatma is like ravishing me, my mind. I feel that same euphoria that I feel in sex, the same anand that I feel, that's the kind of anand that I'm getting just through Naam Simran, through connecting with the divine. She adorns and decorates herself with this decoration of truth. Guru Amar Das Ji, the third Guru. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says something similar. I have become the bed. My eyes have become the sheets on the bed for my husband, Lord. So my eyes are waiting for the Lord to come and lie on me. If you look at me even once, then I obtain joy beyond measure. Look at these words. This bliss that you get from this kind of sexual experience of wife being with husband, husband being with, that absolute bliss and joy. Guruji is saying, I'm waiting for that bliss and joy because I can get that through meditation with Paramatma. So this is what the point I'm trying to illustrate is Gurbani doesn't shy away from this idea that married couples have sex. Yeah, and they enjoy it and it's part of their healthy sexual relationships. So one conclusion I'm coming to, sex for pleasure is allowed with a married partner. This is answering another question. The question that we always get asked is, in Gurbani, do you only need to have sex for procreation? A lot of people will say yes, you only have sex for procreation. Why do they say that? Because within themselves they feel that sex is bad. That the only useful thing for sex is to have sex for a child, to make a baby. But everything else, sex is bad, so you should generally avoid it. That's the underlying feeling there. What I'm saying is, let's make sure that Gurbani is giving us that underlying feeling. Does Gurbani say sex for pleasure is a bad thing within your own sexual relationships? Guru Gobind Singh Ji talks about this in Dasam Granth Sri Charitrupakyan. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Charitrupakyan is very interesting and it's very topical. We're not going to talk about whether it's right or wrong and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to engage in that discussion. But in Charitra 21, the stories within Charitrupakyan are always of a man deceiving a woman deceiving a man, and going off and having relations with some sort of lover, some sort of illicit relationships. Charitra 21, Guru Gobind Singh Ji uses himself in a comical way. He says there was a king in a town called Anandpur, and the king was like a guru and everybody worshipped him. So you already know that he's talking about himself, but he's not talking about himself literally. And the way I like to think about this, imagine a lot of Singhs sitting around a fireplace, they've had a very hard day, they've had battles and all that kind of stuff, and they need to try and make themselves laugh, and they tell each other stories like that. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji is saying, I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story about this one time that this woman tried to have sex with me. So this is male banter, this is male bonding, and I imagine in the Khalsa there was this sort of banter going on all the time. When you're away from your families for months on end, when your friends are being slaughtered all around you, you don't have TV, you don't have any way to enjoy yourself, so they tell each other these funny jokes to lift the mood and the spirit. Guru Gobind Singh Ji uses himself as an example. But what's really interesting there is in that, the beginning of Charitra 21, it says, now let me narrate to you the characteristic of a good person. Because across the Charitras, Charitra means clever tricks. Yeah? People who use clever tricks to deceive others. And after doing lots of stories of deceit, Guruji says, now let me tell you a story of what a Gurmukh looks like, what a good person looks like. And there he uses the example. And he says there that there was this king, the king of Anandpur, and all these women were coming after him, and this one particular woman was coming after him, and he resists. And he tells her, why does he resist? Why am I not going to sleep with you? Because firstly, I'm not married to you. And he says that you should only have a relationship with your wife. What he says, that when I was young, remember we're talking about Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the character in this story. He says, when I was young, my Guru Pita told me a story. My Guru Pita gave me an instruction. And it says, Nir Nari ke saath neho tum nit badayo. My father, referencing Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, but not explicitly saying, my father taught me that I should enjoy my wife daily, but par nari ki sej pool sapne hu na jayo. But do not go into the bed of somebody else's wife, even by mistake, even in your dreams. Even in your dreams, you should never go. So he's explaining to this woman, my father has explained me this message, that this is how it's okay for me to have sexual relationships daily. What's important here is, Nij nari ke saath neho tum nit badayo. Enjoy your wife daily. Yeah? And how do we know it's talking about just enjoying on a sexual connotation? Because the next line says, Nij nari ke sej. In the next line, it says the bed of another woman. So we know that the first line is talking about the bed of your woman. Yeah? Nit badayo. Daily enjoy it. So Guruji allows a healthy sexual relationship within Gurmat.
So Neho is reflecting that? Because Neho could be interpreted different meaning too, right?
Pyar, Neho, pyar, right? Love.
It doesn't have to be physical relationship.
You're right, it doesn't, but because the next line says sage, the next line says, you can love your wife daily, but don't get into the bed of another woman. So that puts the context of which type of love Guruji is talking about. And the whole theme of Charitra Prakyan is sexual. So it's not just have a picnic with your wife.
Well, you could take it a step further and just say that the first line is very honorable and very high thinking.
Yes.
The way you should approach a full healthy relationship with your wife. And the second line is
immoral thinking.
Immoral.
Yeah, so a very good point there, that a good moral character, and remember Charitra 21 is about who is a good character. Yeah? So the pleasure of household life is not condemned, and I want to make this point, but there's several points that we're going to go through. I know we're dwelling on this point. The pleasure of household life is not condemned. So Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, Nanak Satgur Petiya Puri Hove Jugat. Nanak says, meeting the true Guru, one comes to know the perfect way. Hasandya, Khelandya, Panandya, Khavandya, which Hove Mukt. That mukti for a Gursikh doesn't mean you go and hide in a cave and you just reject the entire world. Guruji says there's nothing wrong with laughing, with playing, with wearing nice clothes and with eating nice food. But mukti, you have to be mukt from these things. You can be within them, and this is where we see in Gurbani that viche maya paya, that within maya we get liberated. Yeah, so human life involves laughter, it involves some nice clothes, it involves having a normal life, right? So this is also really interesting that Gurbani is telling us how to think And I think we almost need to take our lessons from Gurbani, how to think, rather than you kind of get people who are very opinionated that says you should only ever wear bana and you should only ever do this and only ever do that, and like never go out, never do this, like only just sit in, like sitting in the darbar of a guru, we've pretty much made into a cave. Like don't go in and enjoy the world, like don't enjoy the sunset and the sunrise, like forget all of that, just sit and do Naam Simran. Well, in that sense, then there's no real difference with the yogis who were sitting in a cave or sitting in a forest. So it's not that we don't do enough Naam Simran, we should do as much as possible. But Guruji is saying that Viche hove mukt, have a normal life, lead a normal life and find liberation within that normal life. But the most important thing is, don't let normal life distract you. And there's a beautiful shabad that I love to recite all the time, is Guru Nanak Dev Ji talking about ras, the flavors of life. Ras soina, ras rupa kaman, ras parmal ki vas. That he says that in our life we have lots of ras, we have lots of enjoying flavors that we enjoy. He says we enjoy gold and shiny things. Ras soina, ras rupa, and we enjoy silver, and we enjoy kaman. Another word that kaam derives from is kaman, kamani, your wife, your woman. We enjoy gold and silver, we enjoy women. Ras parmal ki vas, we enjoy lovely fragrances. Ras kore, ras seja, we enjoy horses. So in today's day we'd say we enjoy cars, and we enjoy a comfortable bed. Ras seja mandar, we enjoy a nice house. Ras mitha, ras mas, we enjoy even the taste of sweet things and the taste of meat. Guruji is saying that these things are lots of flavors that can be in a man's life. Ete ras sarir ke kaigat naam nivas. But Guruji is saying there's so many flavors and enjoyments in life, how am I supposed to have time for Naam Simran? Who's got Naam in their heart when they're wasting all their time with these things? So Guruji is giving us the perfect balance. Live within these things, but don't forget Naam. Amongst all these things, have Naam Simran.
So about the daily, how Guru Sahib is saying daily enjoy your life, I don't know if I understand or agree with that. Where does Jat Sat come in? And isn't that being Jat Sat integral or important to doing something?
Very good question. We're going to go on to control. Very good question. So here I'm just setting the context, and now what I'm starting to do is to say what is the balanced view of that context. So even here, this is kind of answering your question, that if you're enjoying your woman all the time, that it's making you forget Naam, then that enjoyment is too much. So that's where Jat is starting to come in. Jat means self-restraint, and we'll go on to that idea in even more. Yeah. So this is going to, I'm sort of working through a process here. Yeah. So now we're starting to see that Guru is saying, yes, it's okay to have a healthy sexual relationship, but you must not use that as an excuse to forget your duty as a human being, that you're here on earth to meditate on Naam. So Guruji gives us a nice balance, yeah? You can live a healthy life, but you also have to make sure that Naam is the most important priority. You don't let your worldly pleasures distract you. So from Gurbani's perspective, remember we still, look at the title of this talk, we're still actually answering the first question, what is KAAM? Let's talk about that. From Gurbani's perspective, as one of the five thieves, we can describe KAAM like this: lust for another person, or lust for your own wife or husband to the point of losing your spiritual awareness. So lust can be lustful for your own husband or wife. You can have a lust that you always want to play with your children. You can have a lust that when you go home, you always just want to raid the fridge and always want to eat. So lust is a lust for somebody else, but also the lust for your own wife or your own possessions. So Guruji is saying that this is a very fine balance. Now you're starting to see what Guru means by walking on this path is like walking on a very, very thin, sharp tightrope. That you can't fall this way and you can't fall that way. It's always a balancing act. Guruji says get married. No, don't get lost in that. Yeah? So you say, okay, I'll go enjoy my life. No, you can't do that. Come back. Naam Simran. So it's a very, very sharp and difficult path, because at any point you can fall in one direction or the other. So now we're starting to understand this reference. It's a very, very balanced path. In fact, you can see how difficult this is. Like, I'm supposed to be married. Like, if the whole point is Naam Simran, why don't you just tell us not to get married? Then at least we can focus on Naam Simran. But Guru says, no, don't do that. Enjoy your life, but don't enjoy it too much. Okay? So, if we're trying to get a definitive definition of what the word KAAM means, I suggest perhaps KAAM can be seen as sexual obsession. Maybe the word kaam means sexual obsession. And that's what, when we look at the word lust, it's always uncontrolled. It's excessive. It's doing too much of something. So the word kaam, my proposal here is that it means sexual obsession, lust, excessive, impulsive thoughts or sexual actions. Now the question is, what is excessive? Now this is where it is left to you to define, looking at your own mat and your own mind. You have to know within yourself, am I doing too much? Because the question, if I say kaam is excess of sexual activity or thoughts, who defines what is excess? This is where, and I'm going to again paraphrase Bhai Harinder Singh from Sikh Research Institute. He says that a lot of people are looking towards religion for all the rules. And he says that's because the kind of world that we live in is a rules-based world. We live under laws. The laws tell us what we can do and what we can't do. But when we apply this to Sikhi, he says there aren't a lot of laws in Sikhi. And so he says that we are spirit-driven, that we have to look within our own self and we have to define what's right for me, what's excessive for me. Something that's excessive for you might not be excessive for me. You have to have a very honest and open relationship with your own mind. And it has to be honest. You can't say, I'll just carry on doing it because I like it and Guru hasn't really made a rule against it. Yeah? You have to be honest with yourself and say, what's too much? So excessive or obsessive sexuality is how I propose that we can define what kaam is. But it's left to you to reflect on your own mindset. A key point that I'm going to make again, it's very important to distinguish all sexual activity from kaam. This is now going to help us to try and answer some of these follow-up questions. We can't say that all sexual activity is kaam, just like we can't say that if I passionately disagree with you about something, that I'm having krodh. Krodh and anger is distinctly different from you and me having a very healthy and passionate disagreement. In the same way, I can't say that if I go shopping for clothes, that is greed. Like, I have clothes in my cupboard. Like, I don't actually need another pair of jeans or another pair of shirts, but I go to the shop, there's a good deal, or I just feel like doing some shopping. Would you call that greed? Or would you say, okay, that's within some sort of limit? You wouldn't call that greed. You wouldn't say, oh, Guruji, forgive me, I went and bought some. I have 20 ties already, but I saw a good tie and I bought it. You wouldn't feel guilty about it, would you? You'd just go and do it. So in the same way, we shouldn't feel guilty of all sexual activity, because all sexuality is not kaam. So that's a very important thing that we need to understand. Now, still we don't have a definitive list of what I can do and what I can't do. So after doing all of this research, I came up with my list of what is categorically kaam and what is categorically not kaam. So let's go through the kaam category. Allow me to explain it, because there'll be things in there that will surprise you and shock you, and things that you probably will disagree with. This is what my definition of my understanding, based on the research that I've done in Gurbani, but I'm more than willing to be proven wrong. This is my definition of what is definitely kaam. According to Gurbani, adultery is definitely kaam. Engaging in any intimate activity with a partner who you are not in a long-term committed relationship with. So that answers this question. Short-term dating. Yeah? And short-term dating that involves some sort of intimacy. Yeah? I will put under the category of kaam. Any sort of sexual, physical relationships that are very short-lived, like I have no plan to marry this girl, but I'm just going to go and check it out for a while, and we're just testing each other out.
So, question: if you're going out with this girl, say just talking, but there's kaam within the talk.
Yes. Let's go into.
Though it's not kaam.
Yes. It's not physical.
But the perception, we're not talking about lust.
Yes.
But the way they're interacting,
Yes.
there is that something there that's sparking
Yes.
something,
Yep.
the interest.
So let's go through this and we'll answer just that question. So the question is, well, what if you're just talking to somebody and you're interested in them? Like, part of your decision-making process, whether I want to marry this person, is, am I attracted to them? So is that included in the kaam? Yeah? So, any sexual thoughts or desires towards others, either real or imaginary. So either having a sexual thought for a real person in front of you, or an imagination, or this is where I put the category of pornography. It's imaginary, it's voyeurism, it's not real. I put that in the category of kaam. that you're having sexual thoughts towards somebody that you know or somebody that you don't know, but you just kind of see a picture of or see a video of. Short-term relationships involving sexual or intimate activity, either before or after marriage. That is still under the adultery category. Yeah? Before marriage, having sexual relationships, according to how I understand Gurmat, I put it as kaam. Notice here, I'm not saying right or wrong. I don't care whether you do it. I'm not telling you whether it's right or wrong. I'm just helping us to define what is and what isn't kaam as I've understood it, only purely through Gurmat. A desire for anything which takes you away from awareness of Naam, I call that kaam. And according to Gurbani, a desire for anything. So I'm sitting here with my iPhone 4 and everybody's got an iPhone 7 and I'm constantly looking at them, man, look at the screen size, look at the resolution, look at this, oh, I didn't know you could do that, my one only does this. Yeah, that's kaam. Yeah, that's not lobh, moh, krodh, that's not any of those things. That's just like being excited by something else. Okay? So, and what is that doing? Why is it kaam? Because you could look at your phone and say, actually, this phone is not really serving me. I need a new phone. I look at new phones. I like the Samsung. I like the iPhone. And you're making a decision. That's not kaam. Yeah? It's like it's a very fine balance. Lusting, obsessing over an object and like just waiting and waiting and waiting to see, oh, I wish I could afford it.
So I'm assuming envy would fall under the definition of kaam.
Yes, envy. That's a very good way of looking at it as well. Just always looking over the fence at what somebody else has and looking at what they have. Yes, I would put that. Desire for anything, but because that desire is making you feel like I'm lacking something. And when you say I'm lacking something, then you're not in a state of Naam. Naam says I'm full. I am blessed. I've got everything like kya nahi karte rahe. Like everything is in your house and I belong in your house. That's Naam, right? That's what we see in Anand Sahib. Regular desire or thoughts of sexual pleasure, even within marriage, I say is kaam. Like constantly wanting it with your wife all the time. Yeah? Now, how do we balance that out between nitbadayu, like daily enjoyment and daily wanting it? The reason I make the distinction is because you doing it on a daily basis, not a problem. You wanting it on a daily basis is a problem because that means that I am lacking something. The state of kaam, I'm missing something, has to become naam, that I'm full. I'm overly full with your naam alone. Yeah? Because if you're constantly wanting it, even within the confines of your marriage, that's taking your awareness away.
ਲਾਸਟ ਦੇ ਰਿਗਾਰਡਿੰਗ ਸੀਗਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਲਾਸਟ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਸੀਗਾ
ਇੱਥੇ ਕਾਮ ਦੇ ਲਿਸਟ ਤੇ
ਵੀ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸੇ ਵੀ
ਯੈਸ
ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਆਈਫੋਨ ਦਾ ਕਿਹਾ
Yes.
ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਦੋਸਤ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਸਰਕਲ ਨੇ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਲੈ ਲਈ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਤੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਈਏ ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਰਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਈਵਨ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਗੱਡੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਜੇ
Yep.
ਗੁਆਂਢੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਆਡੀ ਲੈ ਲਈ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਲੈਣੀ ਓ ਲੈਣੀ ਹੈ
Yes. According to Gurbani, I think is calm. I completely agree with you that any lust for any object of your friends or anything like that.
ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੇਰੇ ਗੁਣਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਮਨ ਨੂੰ ਭਾਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ
Yes.
ਇਸ ਕਾਮ
Anything that distracts your mind within Maya. Yes.
So for example, someone that's really into art, would that be calm?
Art?
Like art, like sculptures or that wow factor?
No. And this is where I'm going into what isn't calm. Right? Okay, let's just finish this and that goes into that category. Regular masturbation for sexual pleasure. The key word being regular. Yeah? Like always wanting it all the time. Yeah? I put that under the category of calm. And I'll explain that as we go on. What is not calm according to my understanding? Thinking that somebody is beautiful. When you see a beautiful baby, you say, oh, it's a beautiful baby. When you see a woman and you say, okay, I admit it, that's a stunning woman. Yeah? You don't necessarily desire it, but you look at it and you're like a new car. Like you've got a car, but you look at a car and it's like, okay, they've done a really good job. That is a stunning piece of craftsmanship. Seeing something as attractive is not calm. Seeing something as beautiful, seeing nature as beautiful is not lust. Engaging in any healthy and consensual intimate activity with a partner who you are in a long-term committed relationship with is not calm. A healthy and consensual, yeah? because you wanting it and your partner not wanting it is then a problem. Watching TV or movies with the occasional scene of nudity is not calm. If you're watching a movie and there happens to be a scene in there, you can't think like, oh my God, that's like, I'm in calm. Unless the very reason that you're watching that movie is for that thing. Yeah? Or that you're watching it and you're extremely enjoying it. Yeah? You're aroused by it. Yeah? So just you're happening to watch a movie and there happens to be a lady in a bikini and all of a sudden you think, right, I'm in calm, I've got to do like 100 choppy sabs or whatever, right? So he's balancing it out. Try and balance it out. So this is what it means that you live in the world, but we have a degree of just saying, okay, fine, there's a sexual woman there. Okay, it's bringing up some emotions in me, but I'm not trying to indulge in that. As soon as you forget Naam Simran and you actually say, wow, and I'm now starting to lust after it. I want to watch more of that. I want to see more of that. There's a very fine balance between I've seen it. Okay, my mind has automatically said that's beautiful because I'm a heterosexual male. My mind has automatically said that's attractive. And then it's that jump from that point to actually intense wanting it, more of it. Like it's a very small split second within your head that you actually like lose your focus and you say, wow, and you start looking and looking and looking. And then you've got to remind yourself, thanks but no thanks. Yeah, Naam Simran fills me up.
I was also just wondering when it comes to movies and TV, if you're watching it just for the enjoyment of watching it, but you're not remembering Naam and God, then isn't that distraction some sort of desire that is taking you away?
I would put that under that category that we talked about, the char parat, the arth, that just enjoyment of the arts is not a bad thing. But if you can, I mean, like, look, when you watch a movie, like maybe you're watching like Star Trek or Star Wars or something, you do forget. You do like actually get into the movie, like, oh my God, there's the bad guy, and there's like, you kind of get involved with the movie. Yeah. Like, I don't personally put that under calm, but that is a distraction. And that is something for you to decide. Now, you could occasionally watch a movie, or you could be like, I can't function until I watch my movie, right? And that's, for me, is that level of personal balance that you have to reflect within yourself and say, I don't personally believe that somebody should dictate a rule that says all movies, all cinema, everything banned. I know some things do. I personally don't see it in that way, because I think there's a level of Sikhi where you no longer just relying on rules. You have to actually have self-discipline. You have to decide within yourself. Everybody's talking about Star Wars. I might as well watch it. Like, I can't have a conversation with anyone because everyone's talking, oh, okay, I'll watch it. No big deal, right?
And just other thing, when you mention like phones or just really anything that we consume, I know this is a little separate from KAAM, but just when you brought it up that if they're, being made through unethical practices, how do we then go about even consuming these things, knowing if these things are causing harm? So
I think that then goes into a wider topic about ethics, and I think I'd like to just skip that for now. Maybe we can talk about it afterwards. Yeah, sure. But I think, because we've got quite a lot to go through, but I think it raises a very good point, that actually if you're desiring things and you think, okay, it's fine to have it, but you're not actually thinking about the consequences, like is it unethically sourced, and what are the consequences of doing that? But that's a much bigger subject about Sikhi and ethics and morality. But a very good question. So what is calm and what isn't calm? This is the list of what isn't calm. Watching TV with the occasional scenes of nudity or sexual nature. Any non-sexual thoughts or activity involving nudity or parts of the body of another person. If you are a doctor and part of your work means that you need to look at another person's leg or arm or breast or whatever it is, that isn't calm because that's part of your work. So nudity isn't calm. Sexual desire for that nudity is calm. Do you see the difference? The way I had it described to me very interestingly, like magazines that are pornographic magazines, that's calm. But you go to the Sistine Chapel and you're seeing like these naked angels and flying around in the sky, you're just looking at them and say, okay, that's interesting. Like, you're not sexually aroused by that. So nudity I don't call calm. Like, you see a little baby running around, there's no sexual desire, right? So nudity isn't calm, or any work that involves you engaging in nudity without a sexual thought, I don't put it under the category of calm.
A question I have, looking at a movie or looking at something, if one does not have control of the mind,
yeah,
वो कोई भी चीज the like art example I'll give you is of a sculpture of a woman.
Yes.
She's nude.
Yes.
but ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਫੁਰਨਾ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨੇ ਬਹਿਣਾ ਆ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਣ ਲਈ.
Yes.
It's going to come to it because the mind is already looking for those.
Yes. So that's where I say that there's a level of personal self-restraint that you have to say, okay, I didn't expect that reaction. So the question is basically that what if you just see something, some sort of nudity, or even like these kind of models or paintings of like nude goddesses like in these museums, like, and when you sit down to do Naam Simran and then that nudity enters into your mind, like you see that anyway, you go past any shop store and you see like a naked mannequin, right? You can't avoid these things, you can't avoid nudity.
Playing with fire.
But you can't avoid it, is what I'm saying. Like, you walk around, but that's what I'm saying is that it's a personal decision. Like, I could go into a museum and actually not be affected by those things. I shouldn't have a rule that says don't even look at it. You need to make your own rule that says, actually, I didn't expect that reaction, that I was going to be aroused by that. I'm going to try and avoid doing that myself for my own. So what I'm saying is I don't think that is a universal rule that somebody has to place on the entire panth. I think you have to set your own boundaries.
And that's based on awareness.
And you have to have that personal awareness of yourself, that what works for me, what doesn't work for me. Was there a question?
ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਇਸੇ ਰਿਗਾਰਡਿੰਗ ਸੀਗਾ ਜੀ, ਵੀ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨ ਤੇ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਘੱਟੋ ਘੱਟ ਟੀਵੀ ਹੀ ਨਾ ਦੇਖੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਤੇ ਆਉਣਾ.
Yes.
ਜੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਹੈਗਾ ਫੇਰ
Exactly. So if you can control it comes down to awareness, that you have to place your own awareness. So any sexual thoughts or activities involving nudity is not calm. Who did? Hanji.
Oh, sorry. I just want to maybe just clarify the Barney ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਰਮਾਨ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਰੂਪੇ ਕੰਮ ਹੈ ਦੋਸਤੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ. So through the looks and through your calm, your vashna, your desire, both of them, they're dosti, they're friendship. If they're, for example, in this camp, there's no BB in this camp. Like, I haven't had to worry with any of the things trying to say, oh, single, don't chase after women in this camp. Why? Because
that's just not there. Yep.
But the thing is, what you're speaking about is what I find is very, very thin. Right? Very, very thin.
Yes.
It's very, very fine line. And what Faisal was speaking about as well, I agree with that as well. It's like playing with fire. It's like taking butter close to fire and saying, no, we're just playing around with it.
Yes.
But then again, it comes down to your own mind. Ye thonu pata hai, if you can plant those seeds, and they're going to grow, then you should definitely avoid it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But if you know, okay, thodi avastha hote tak pahunch gaya, and it's like it's passive.
Yes.
Then I would say then it just naturally happens. But if you're saying that no, I'm just going to do it and it's not going to affect me, that is kind of, I find that's an excuse or a justification to the mindset.
Yes.
That's okay, and that's why I'm sure you're going to get to it as well. The last point I did, maybe it's just bothering me. Maybe I'm reading it.
Yeah,
wrong.
that's because we haven't got to that yet.
Yeah, it's masturbation for sexual pleasure in exceptional circumstances. That's like.
Yeah, I haven't got to that one yet. The point I'm trying to make is that you do have to have a sense of awareness. You do need to have a very open and honest relationship with yourself that says what's working, what's not working. The reason I don't put a ban on anything, because you can ban one thing, but you can't ban everything. So you can go to work, and I'll tell you from my own experience, you go to work, and in the summer, the women are wearing very little because it's really hot. What are you going to do now? You're going to say, I'm not going to go to work? Because you can say, I don't want to go and watch, I don't want to go to a museum, or I don't want to see certain movies, but you can't avoid contact with all women at all times. So at some point, you're going to have to actually say, I need to deal with this. Because the roop, I can't just close everything up. Or you're going to walk around with your eyes closed, or you're going to walk around forcing all your women to cover up.
No, definitely. It's like the Brahmgyan avastha is, if the Brahmgyani is naked and everybody in the world is naked, it doesn't matter to that person because he's not looking at it with that intention.
Yes.
Right? It's like the doctor's intention.
Yeah.
But if you know somebody, if you know your mind is going to lead into that,
Yes.
then in your mind isn't that Brahmgyan avastha?
Yes.
Then you should definitely put it inside of a kasvati. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this is where like everybody has to decide for themselves what is working, what is not working. So that's a very important point. Masturbation for non-sexual pleasure, I don't put under the category of KAAM. If you are going to the doctor and the doctor says you need to give me a sperm sample, in order for you to produce that sperm sample, you need to ejaculate. That I don't put under the category of KAAM because that's like a non-KAAM activity. It needs to be done. Now, this is the one that's going to get everyone riled up. Masturbation for sexual pleasure in exceptional circumstances, I don't put under KAAM. Now, you define what those exceptional circumstances. I have not put that in there to give everyone a get-out clause that they can masturbate at some point. That's not what that point is there. But there are exceptional circumstances. I will give you an example. That if there is a Gursikh married couple and one of the partner passes away and the other partner never remarries just because they're too busy, just because they've got too many children, they've got too many responsibilities, do we say that we should strip that person of any sexuality? My personal understanding is I don't think we should. I'm not saying that they have sex with anybody else. I'm not saying that they should lust after anybody else. But personal sexuality, for me, I put under the category as them enjoying sex as though their husband or wife was still alive. And that's what I'm saying, occasional, on a very exceptional circumstance. I do not put this to mean that everybody can have sex with whoever they want. Everybody should be masturbating whenever they like. But what I do feel is there are exceptions, because the rule isn't a blanket no on everything, because it is about you defining what is calm and what is not calm. You're going to have that maturity within yourself. Now, I know some people will disagree with that. This is my interpretation.
So, as per Guru Granth Sahib ji, let's cross-reference with Guru Granth Sahib ji. Kaam is Vashna,
Yes. Calm is desire. Yep.
desire. Desire is the spark of your destruction,
Desire is the spark of your destruction. Okay.
which will bring you back into the temple.
Right.
So the Sikh da nishana jada is above the 3 points.
Okay. Yes.
So the last one here, that you gave example.
Yeah. Yes.
Sikh da nishana ho raha.
Yeah.
वो आनंद, you use the word enjoyment.
Yes.
वो आनंद किस चीज का मान रहा है?
Physical.
We should be looking to.
The reason I don't put it in that category, I see where you're going, which is basically saying that if you are a Sikh, the whole point is that you transcend Maya, right?
Or you have a conscious effort.
Completely. But the reason I don't put that in that category is because by that line of thinking, we should have no sex at all. Because sex with your wife is enjoyment of a physical thing. It's nothing spiritual.
But
So that's
there's creation, and then there's
yeah, I'm talking about sex for pleasure, right? I believe Gurbani condones sex for pleasure, according to my understanding. I don't believe Gurbani places the view that sex is only ever for procreation. And if we take the premise that sex for pleasure is okay within a long-term, committed, healthy relationship, and one of those partners happens to pass away, I don't think you should deny, I don't think anybody has the right to impose on that person that you are never going to experience any sexual pleasure ever again because you're so busy with looking after your children and stuff that you've never managed to get married again. But that's my own, I mean, this is not a big point. This is not a big point.
But I'd like to make a point that when Sikh Jadaya is noticing that वो फंस रहा है in a jar, and there's obviously कोई मन दी रहत ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਘਨ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਆ, ਉਹਦੀ ਸੁਰਤੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਘਨ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਆ, right?
Yeah.
ਉਹ ਤੇ ਮਨ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਪਰਸ਼ ਕਰਨਾ ਆ, ਸੁਰਤਮਤ ਮਨ ਦਾ,
Yes.
ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਘਨ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਆ, that ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਸ਼ਨਾ ਵੱਲ ਤੋੜ like he's breaking himself from Vaheguru and he's taking himself toward the
But you're
Vaheguru.
doing the same when you have sex with your wife for pleasure.
But I'll give you an example. If my kid comes to me, I come from work, and he grabs me and he's wrestling with me, and I hold him and I you just smell your kid. That right there is the Vashna too. But I can do that
Yeah.
if my surti is somewhere else and I'm still fulfilling that duty,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
I'm fulfilling the duty, but my surti is somewhere else.
Yeah.
My child will not know
Yes.
that my father loves me or he doesn't love me.
Yes.
He's going to think he loves me regardless.
Okay.
Because both situations,
Yeah.
I'm rolling around.
Yeah,
on the
enjoying-
ground
yeah.
afraid.
Yep.
But from my end, man karke,
Yes.
either I'm totally absorbed in him,
Yeah.
the mera bacha hai,
Yeah.
or
you're
then
still,
I'm still connected
Yep.
there while I'm doing it.
yeah. So do you see, this is very fine. And the difference lies within you.
Within, so
The difference lies within you.
ਹੁਣ ਗੱਲ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਸ ਮਤਲਬ ਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਮਨ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਬੂ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ
Yeah.
then there's that fine line within everybody. But I see that there's an easy way for someone to keep on justifying their weaknesses and saying it's okay.
Okay, so, okay, I want to move on from this point, but I think that's a very valid thing, that basically there's a slight disagreement between should we just put a blanket ban and say yes or no, no calm, no masturbation ever again, or should we have a degree of flexibility for exceptional circumstances on occasion? And I think that's where we're disagreeing on that. And I knew we would on this particular point. When I made the slide, I knew that this particular point would be
No,
contentious.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm bringing something out just to pierce.
Engage. Yeah, very good. I've got quite a lot that we need to get through. We've only so far covered what is calm. Okay? But I think this is such an important subject that you can't do a half-assed job about it. You can't just kind of miss out some important things. And I think we're addressing some very important areas. And for me, I felt that it was very important that we actually try to at least list or categorize in some way so we get some clarity as to what's in and what's out. Yeah? Now the question is, why do we have sexual desires? Deep-rooted within us is a animal instinct to procreate. Within all life is a deep-rooted instinct to procreate, and every animal, every being has the desire that its own genetics should multiply in some way. So we have to understand that calm or sexual desire is something very intrinsic to who we are. In fact, our very cells divide. As soon as you were born, was one cell merged with another cell, and the desire for that cell was to make more of itself. So the very birth of you is that I want to make more of myself. That goes so deep into your very own cellular level. Now, I've looked into some medical journals and different places to try and understand where does sexuality come in normal human behavior. This is from the American Academy of Pediatrics, of study of children and children's health. And it talks about childhood sexuality. It says young children up to the age of 5 or 6 are curious about the differences between girls and boys, and thus in the preschool and kindergarten years they may actually explore each other's body, including each other's genitals. So this is normal human behavior. I'm just laying out there what science says is normal. The NHS, the National Health Service in the UK, talks about when does sexual attraction begin. And it was in an area looking at teenagers and puberty. And it says the average age for girls to begin puberty is 11, while for boys the average age is 12. The process takes about 4 years to develop from a child to go through puberty into what we would call a young adult. Boys may have wet dreams, involuntary ejaculations of semen as they sleep. So there is a part of our growth process alone is where sexuality starts to grow within us. So the question that we're answering is, why do we have sexuality? That's looking at it from a scientific perspective, where did these things come from? Now, what kind of sexuality is there in normal what are the main reasons that we have sexual activity? Reproduction, intimacy with a partner. This is now looking at what the West says is the reasons for having any sort of sexual activity. So you have sexual activity for reproduction, intimacy with a partner, self-pleasure, or in any forms, all of these can be addictive. Yeah, I'm going to start skipping through some of these quite quickly because we're precious on time. And now let's go into a little bit of the philosophy. Why are we looking for anything to pleasure ourselves? The root of our desire within human beings, is that we're all searching for something. Naturally, human beings, we're born with a search for something. Everyone is born with this search, and what we're looking for is we all believe that happiness is possible. Every single one of us has a belief happiness and bliss is possible, but we don't know where to look for it. So we go and look for it in the real world. And what we do is we look at the world to provide this bliss in any form, to give us some sort of comfort and to fill this void. So the psychology is that within us we feel empty. Can everyone agree with that? There's a slight emptiness within all of us, and we look to the world to fill that emptiness. And everyone looks outside to fill that emptiness. None of us looks at the emptiness, the void itself. And this is now looking at spirituality and Adhyatma a little bit to understand why we work in these ways. So how do we fill our void? Is that we fill our brain with pleasurable experiences, pleasurable memories, and we fill our bodies with pleasurable foods and tastes. But we know that all of these things have temporary pleasures. The pleasure of all these things never last. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says in Japji Sahib, Pukhya Pukhna Utri Je Banna Puriya Par, that in the mind we have a constant hunger, but that hunger is not filled. If we decide to just abstain from everything, you still don't fulfill that hunger. And Je Banna Puriya Par. So if you remain pukha spiritually and you avoid all pleasures, that your pukha doesn't go. And Je Banna Puriya Par. And if you collect all things, if you go out to the world and say, I'm just going to enjoy everything, that still doesn't get rid of you, that kind of internal void. Guru Nanak Dev just talking about that. So why do we keep chasing pleasure? Kaam has become a habit which is hard to break. All desire is ultimately a habit, and it's very hard to break hold of that. We're so afraid of facing our own void that the only solution is to fill it with some sort of comfort. But when you get that comfort, you realize that it doesn't fill the void. So no matter how much we talk about Naam, Simran and all these kind of concepts, we are not actually dealing with something very intrinsic with us. We're not dealing with the fact that we have an emptiness inside of us. So we need to start pairing those two together. Let's talk about how does Kaam affect us. Now I looked at psychologists in the West, American, British psychologists, to understand how does the West see an action like masturbation? What does it say? How are we being, what sort of messages are we being bombarded with? In psychology in the West, masturbation in private or with a partner is generally considered normal and healthy. According to psychologists, masturbate as much as you want, not a problem, according to psychology. It is held in many mental health circles that masturbation can relieve depression, relieve stress, relieve anxiety, and lead to a higher sense of self-esteem. Psychologists in the West are telling you that if you're feeling a little bit rubbish, that masturbation is one solution, that you can feel better about yourself. Masturbation can also be particularly useful in relationships in where one partner wants more sex than another partner does. So if you're in a relationship where you're more sexually active, or you've got a higher libido or whatever you want to call it, and your partner doesn't, psychology will say it might be good for you to masturbate. So you can have the occasional sexual activity with your partner, but it's good for you to do your own, so that it's good for your own mental health. In biology, now let's look at animals. We see masturbation is absolutely normal within animals. Again, this is neither right nor wrong. Don't misunderstand that I'm telling you what's right and what's wrong. Here I'm just giving you some facts, okay? We see that lots of animals masturbate. Masturbate, we mean that they excite themselves sexually without a partner. For couples who are trying to conceive, this is biology. If you're trying to conceive and you're not able to conceive with your wife, biologists, the doctors are saying it might be because you're not masturbating enough. Because when you masturbate just a few days before trying to conceive with your partner, when you masturbate a few days earlier, when you conceive, you're actually got healthy young sperm. So it's saying that if you're trying to conceive with your wife, maybe masturbation is useful. Remember, I'm just giving you facts here. The Cancer Council of Australia found that males masturbating frequently had a lower probability of developing prostate cancer. So I'm just giving you some facts here about how the West gives us certain messages about what's right and what's wrong, what we can and can't do. It's important for us to understand where we're being influenced. But psychologists also agree that any sort of sexual activity like masturbation can lead to an extreme. So there can be in extreme circumstances, there are things called sexual addictions. That you can be a sex addict. And sexual addiction is a state characterized by compulsive participation in engagement in sexual activity, particularly in intercourse despite negative consequences. If you are having too much sex or you're desiring it too much, or you're masturbating too much all the time. You want it all the time. You have a condition. You are known as a sex addict, and that is recognized in psychology. And there is also a thing called porn addiction. That if you're watching porn all the time, if all you can think about all the time, if you're masturbating several times a day or several times a week, this is known as porn addiction. The term is a sexual dependence. Yeah, this is also another term. Sexual dependence is used to refer to people who report to being unable to control their sexual desires. This is now, we have to ask ourselves, if any of you are facing these problems, am I in this category? Unable to say no. The definition of an addiction, what is an addiction? Is an impulse that I can't say no to. That's the definition of an addiction. You need to ask your own self, in any aspect of your life, is there any time when I get an impulse and I can't say no to it? That impulse takes over. That's the definition that you have an addiction, and you need to start now looking at therapies to help you deal with that addiction. Gurbani warns us that KAAM has many negative effects. Now we're looking at, why is KAAM seen as negative? Yeah, we've talked a lot about KAAM, but let's look at why is KAAM seen as negative. In order to understand why KAAM is negative, first you have to establish, what are we trying to do in life? What is the Gurmat view on life? We know that Rera says that you are here to merge with God. So remember that that's your goal. If merging with the divine, if losing your ego is the goal, then you have to see that anything that is stopping me from that goal is seen as negative. That's why Gurbani puts KAAM as negative, because that's distracting you from your ultimate goal. So KAAM isn't just negative for no reason. The Gurus aren't just saying sex is bad. The Gurus aren't saying lust is bad. They're saying, in context of what you're trying to achieve as a Gurmukh, and what your potential is as any human being. Forget, the Guru isn't just about Sikhs, right? The Guru is saying, as human beings, you have a potential to merge with something far more superior than you, this divine consciousness. Your ability to do that, the reason you're not doing it is because KAAM is blocking you. So the goal is to merge with oneness, and lust creates an addiction like Maya. So Gurbani is saying, Bin har kaam na avat hai. Nothing is of any use without the Lord. Jasyo raj mach tum lage o mohani mohavat hai rahao. You are totally attracted to Maya. So now Gurbani is putting KAAM under the category of Maya, that anything that distracts you is stopping you from seeing the purpose of your life. Kanak kamani sej sohni chod khine mein javat hai. You are, at any excuse, you're attracted to another woman. You shall have to leave behind your gold and your woman. You're looking for pleasure, but the thing that you're getting pleasure from isn't going to stay with you. Kanak kamani, Gurbani uses this word kanak kamani, gold and woman. Yeah, it doesn't just mean those two things. It's a category of lots of bigger things. It's saying your gold, your woman, your bed, you're going to leave all those things behind. All your attachments you're going to leave behind. And you are entangled in the lures of sexual pleasure, and you are eating a poisonous drug. This is very important. Gurbani places lust as an addiction. Lust is addictive like a drug. Gurbani specifically says that lust is a drug. Because, why? It gives you a high, but when that wears off, you want that high again. That's the definition of something that you're addicted to, a drug that you constantly want it. Having something, you tasted it once, you say, oh, that's very nice, thanks very much. That's not a drug. Constantly chasing after that taste is a drug. Gurbani says lust, sexual obsession, is constantly drugging you. Maya is a drug. So why is Gurbani saying that lust is bad? So number one, lust is a drug. Number two, lust is a trap. Yeah? Seeing light with these eyes, the moth is entangled, the fool does not see the fire. Gurbani is using the analogy of a moth being attracted by the light of a flame, so it flies into it. Have you ever seen this? I've actually seen this with my own eyes. That you having a bonfire, a moth goes and just lands on the log and just burns to a crisp. And I look at it and I'm astounded. Why would anybody do that? Like, what is in your DNA that says I'm going to do that? Now the Guru is using that same analogy to you and your addiction to Maya, and he's saying, why are you doing that? Why are you voluntarily going into this trap? So Gurbani is placing Kaam as a trap. Why are you doing that? Yeah? Similarly, attached to Kanakamani, the golden woman, the fool does not think about death. You're forgetting death. You're forgetting that ultimately you're going to have to answer for what you did in life. And you are just allowing yourself to be trapped by these things. Gurbani says, so this is the kind of things that Gurbani actually says lust does to you. It traps you, it drugs you, it erodes your body. Lust erodes your body. Kaam, krodh, kaya ko gale. It's eroding your body, and it uses the example of a particular chemical that when you put that chemical into gold, the gold just evaporates and disappears. And it says lust is doing that to your body. Lust sends you to hell. Now this is trying to understand, what does lust do to us? Remember the question, why is lust bad? What does it do to us? It traps you, it erodes your body, it is a drug, it sends you to hell. So we had this Shabad before as well in some of the other lectures. He kaman nark bisaramang boho joni parmavane. Oh lust. Now Guru is talking directly to lust, like standing in front of lust, saying, oh lust, you lead mortals to hell. Yeah? Nark bisramang. Guru says your lust is sending you to hell. When you have your porn addiction, when you have your sex addiction, you are actually walking into hell, the trap of hell. So, oh lust, you lead mortals to hell and wander, and you make them wander through reincarnation. You delude awareness, and you pervade the three words. You are actually blocking my Simran. Kaam is blocking my Simran, my awareness. And you are destroying people. You destroy meditation. This is what it says. If you think you're meditating, and you're having lots of Naam Simran, but you also have lots of Kaam, or Kaam Simran, yeah, one is destroying the other. Your Kaam is also a Simran. Simran means that you're remembering something. If you're doing Naam Simran, you're remembering Waheguru, but then you go out into the real world and you're allowing yourself to be lost in sexual thoughts, that is overriding the meditation that you're doing. That's blocking your meditation. Your fear is dispelled in the Sadh Sangat. Guruji says that you're only giving shallow pleasure, but yet still everybody's coming towards you. But there's a solution, that to go in the Sadh Sangat and do the Naam Simran. So Gurbani likens Kaam to hell, to a trap, to a drug. Okay? This is a very interesting website, gurbani.org, that has loads of different articles about very specific subjects. I don't know who's written it, but it's a very useful one if you want to research subjects. And it says here, the reality of the cosmic charmer of Maya, Kanikamani, this is the reality, that it is the enjoyment of these things that binds living entities to the material pain. This is the comment that we had before. You engaging in Kaam keeps you in Maya. Maya means matter, the physical world. The physical world is what we have to transcend. When you engage in lust, you're actively binding yourself in the physical world. The one thing that you're trying to get away from, you're actually binding yourself in there. And it robs you of your divinity. It robs you of the fact that you're trying to escape from jail, but every time you get trapped in Maya, every time you get entrapped in the lust, then you're actually going back in jail. So if you're saying that I'm a prisoner and I'm trying to get out of prison, stop hugging the prison. Stop going into the door, locking yourself in the door and says, I need to get out of this prison. Like you're voluntarily putting yourself in there. That's what lust is doing for you. So it says here that when a man comes into contact with Maya, his love for his mool, his divinity, is lost. And it gets transformed into lust and greed. Just as milk gets transformed, it goes sour when you put like a sour liquid in there, like with imli, with tamarind, it turns into a yogurt. So it's like ruining you. This is how it works. Lust creates a need. So a desire, remember Kaam is a desire, it creates a need. You think you need your addiction. You think you actually need it. Yeah? And then when you try and satisfy with that, if you don't get that satisfied, that leads on to your anger. This is how Kaam is always listed first. Kaam leads to Krodh, it leads to Lobh Mohankar. So that's a very interesting article. So let's quickly go through this. What does Kaam do for you? It robs you of your bliss. Guru Amar Das Ji says this, Is dehi andar panch chor vase. In your body, Kaam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankara, in the body there are 5 chores, but here Guru categorically says what Kaam does to you. Amrit loote, man mukh nahi bujhe, koi na sune pukara. Within you is Amrit. Your Kaam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar is stealing that Amrit away from you. Yeah? Interpret that how you will, because we'll go through this very quickly. It's robbing you of your propensity, your innate natural capacity for inner bliss. Within you, you have inner bliss and you have the ability of inner bliss, but you're not actually doing it as long as you're engaging in your Kaam. So we've covered this Shabad before, right? It's actually robbing you of your Naam. E tera sarir ke kaigat naam nivas. So, in conclusion to this section, what have we learned so far? It's natural to have sexual desires. Sexuality to be a part of your life is natural. A householder's life offers you a chance to express that sexuality. Suppression or overindulgence in sexuality leads to an unhealthy reliance on sexual activity like lust or pleasure or Kaam. And when you engage in too much Kaam, it robs you of your spirituality. So, should we reduce it or should we remove it completely? This is an important question. Some people say that we need a little bit of Kaam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar in life. How many times have you heard that? We need a little bit. Like if you don't have any Kaam, then you can't have any children. And if you don't have any Krodh, then you can't fight a battle. What does Gurbani say? This is the confusion. I say that this is a confusion because you've not understood what Kaam is. You've made Kaam into sexual activity. Gurbani does not put sexual activity and Kaam as the same thing. Sexual activity is what you need to have children. You don't need Kaam to have children. And there's a very clear distinction. Kaam is obsession, excessive sexual activity. And so let's see Gurbani answer this question. Gurbani says that a Gurmukh remains detached and only focused on Naam. Bhagat Naam Devji. Jaise par purkha ratanari. Like a woman who falls in love with another man, lobhi nar tan ka hitkari. And a greedy man loves only wealth, Kaam purkha kamani pyari. And the sexually promiscuous person is always in love with women. Aisa name Preet Murari. That a Gurmukh is in love the way a gambler is in love with gambling, the way a porn addict is in love with porn, the way man and women are constantly falling in love with each other. That's how a Gurmukh falls in love with Naam. So the thing here is Gurbani is not saying you can have a little bit. It's saying no, a Gurmukh has only Naam in their life. The Gurmukh, Gurbani says, completely destroys Kaam. Remember, Kaam means sexual obsession. You must destroy sexual obsession. Excessive sexuality is destroyed. So it categorically answers this question. We don't need to reduce Kaam, we need to remove Kaam completely, but you can have sexual activity which is not Kaam. So it's saying, sing the praises of the Lord. Sukh data, dukh panjan hara, gao kirtan puran gyan. So I'm singing the praises, sing the praises of this giver of peace. Kaam krodh lobh khand khand kine, binsyo mood abhiman. It says that the Gurmukh khand khand, he destroys it limb by limb. It completely annihilates Kaam, Krodh, Hankar. Your panch chor have to be completely destroyed according to Gurmat. It does not need to be reduced. So sexuality is okay, but lust needs to be eradicated. Now, we've only got a couple of minutes left, but this is, I think, the most important part of the presentation, which is I've come up with 9 or 10 solutions to your sexual desire. The moment you feel that you've got too much sexuality, there's too much, what do you do? And I think that's the most important thing, that we need to be equipped with some tools. What do you do? This is now a combination of my personal understanding, my personal experience, and my understanding of Gurbani. So this is not just Gurmat, but this is looking at lots of different ideas about things that you can do. What is not a solution? Overindulgence is not a solution. Get it out of your system is not a solution. Gurbani, we've already talked about this. Ke je banna purya par. If you are hungry and you keep having more and more of it, it doesn't solve it. It may be worked for other things, but for lust it doesn't quite work. Tanasri, lust cannot be quenched through overindulgence. Tanasri mahalla panjwa. Vade vade rajan ar pumana taki trishan nabuchi. Sorry, the font is a little bit small. The desires of the greatest kings and landlords cannot be satisfied. They remain engrossed in Maya, intoxicated with pleasure of wealth. and they see nothing else in their eyes. No one has ever found satisfaction in sin and corruption. By overdoing it, you're never going to find the solution. The flame is not satisfied by putting more fuel. If you have KAAM as a fire, adding more fuel to it is not going to solve it. This is Gurbani's saying that Tanasri Mela Panja, the fifth Guru. How can one be satisfied without the Lord? The only way to really be satisfied is to move your direction, to look in a different direction. Day after day, he eats his meals with many different foods, but his hunger is not eradicated. He runs around like a dog, searching in the four directions. The lustful man desires many women, and he never stops peeking into the home of others. The more porn you engage with, the more masturbation you do, that's not going to solve that problem. Okay? So it's a very important point. So number one, overindulgence is not one of the solutions. What is a solution? Conquer your mind. Okay? One of the most important lessons that I've personally understood in Sikhi, going through Japji Sahib and understanding the meaning of Japji Sahib, is understanding that Sikhi means mind control. And we learn this in Saramkhand, where we see that the whole purpose of Gurbani is to control the mind. Yeah? Tithe kadiye surt mat man buddh. There in Saramkhand, once you know that there is a God, once you have a bit of understanding, you got your Gyan Khand, you understand it, what do? What's the next stage? The next stage is you have to control your mind. Yeah? And that same message is repeated in the final verse of Japji Sahib, which is all about Jat Pahara Tire Sunyar, self-control. Don't think that you're walking on the path of Sikhi if you're not controlling your passions, if you're not controlling your mind. Mind control is Sikhi. Restraining your mind is Sikhi. Man jeete jagjeet. So the first thing is you have to understand that allowing yourself, oh, it's okay, I'm allowed a little bit, that's not actually Sikhi. Yeah, and that's not actually helping you. As long as you say, I'm allowed a little bit, then it's not helping you. Manmukh Kamala Ragada Lujhe. So Manmukh is a material being. The material being, man, is driving himself crazy, struggling with worries and stubbornness. Gurmukh hoye, this sab kich sujhe. But the Gurmukh is one who understands. He's got a better understanding. Nanak Gurmukh man syon lujhe. Oh Nanak, by being Guru facing, one wrestles the mind. So being a Sikh, first thing you have to understand is, what path am I on? You are on the path of mind control. So understand that that's the first path of Sikhi, of dealing with this. Number two, getting more practical. Recognize your triggers. Be honest with yourself. If seeing certain things, if being exposed to certain images makes you more lustful, be honest with yourself and say, I need to stay away from that. And that's the point that we've already made.
DGAK, you were talking about trap.
Yes.
So you only know you're trapped once the trap happens.
Yeah, but once it's happened, you know.
You know that, yeah, I'm a fast again.
But if you keep going into the same trap,
But that's the
then you're a fool, right?
But that's the thing. We go through life.
Yes.
Manjadaya is conditioned in a way. It's looking for some satisfaction.
Yep.
So Guru Granth Sahib Ji jo das rahe hai that is man nu kis tarah marna hai
Yes.
in order to marna.
Yes.
That's not. I'm not saying control.
Yes.
I'm going to say to
Destroy.
destroy. Because the man is the culprit,
Yes.
which is standing between you
Yes.
and Paramatma, which is you and yourself,
Right.
right? So wo tusi thoda ja chana pad.
Yeah, I just want to get through some of these, but I'm sure there's a lot of discussions that are going to come after this, and I'm sure we'll actually carry on. But the organizers are trying to get me to just kind of skip along because we've gone over time already. Thank you. We're on the last few slides. Thank you. So my point here is, a solution is to be honest with yourself as to when is it that your sexual desires come up. I'll give you some triggers. If you're home alone, that's probably a point at which you think, hey, nobody's around. When you're bored and you're stressed, have you ever noticed? If you're bored or you're stressed, you actually think, hey man, how do I get rid of this feeling? Yeah? And when you're with particular people, if there's a certain person that overexcites you, avoid that person. Just be honest with yourself. Yeah? If you're exposing yourself to certain imagery, certain triggers, the point is, how do we solve our KAAM? And this is not just one thing, One of them is to understand what is it that you're actually doing to yourself, and what is it that makes your calm come, and what is it that helps you with your calm. Number 3, realize that calm is a dukh. That's a very important lesson. Calm is not a pleasure. Can I explain that to you? The very fact that you want something means I don't have. I want anything in life. I want means I don't have. I don't have is a type of dukh. Recognize calm is a dukh. And most of the time we see calm as a pleasure. That's why I've titled this subject calm, pain or pleasure. Which one is it? It's actually a dukh. What we're doing is sometimes we're using calm to not deal with some other repressed emotion. Sometimes calm is an outlet for us dealing with some other problem. So be honest with yourself. You have to work on yourself. Always chasing a pleasure that wears off is a drug, and that's a dukh. That's a problem that you have. Recognize that this is a problem. And one of the key things that it's an indicator of is that you haven't actually found what gives you sukh in life. You haven't found this ultimate bliss. And so you need to recognize that calm is an energy that is unused energy. Maskeenji talks about calm is a misdirected energy that has to be directed towards Naam. And all your spiritual teachers from various traditions are saying that you engage in lust because you haven't actually found something that gives you purpose in life. When you wake up in the morning and you got purpose, you got meaning, you got deadlines, you don't have time for calm. Right? Notice this, on a busy day you don't have time for calm. But when you're home alone, when you're feeling a bit rubbish, you don't know what to do with yourself, that's when it hits you. Okay? So recognize that you haven't actually found this kind of joy in life, and there's something that you're missing. Get a hobby. Do something. Yeah? When lustful thoughts arrive, focus on the pain that you're feeling, not the object. Notice, be honest with yourself, that when you're feeling lustful, that there is a pain going on here. So you have a choice. I'm feeling lustful. I can either think about the object of my desire, or I can think about my pain. Actually spend time and say, why am I being lustful? I'm being lustful because there's something missing in me right now. So when you think of a lustful thought, don't spend all of your time. This is very practical advice now. Don't think of the thing that you're lusting over. Spend time on your pain. Your pain will give you an answer. That's where your dukh will turn into a medicine, dukh daru. Spend time when you think about your calm, and not thinking about, I just want to masturbate to this woman. Yeah? Actually spend time, what is going on? Be honest with yourself, what is happening right now? Am I bored? Am I missing something? Do I feel a bit rubbish about something else? Am I stressed? I didn't get the job that I wanted, all those kind of things. That's what tends to happen, okay? Solution number 4, change your perception of yourself. What I mean by this is, if you are engaging in calm on a regular basis, you have created a perception of yourself, this is who I am. I'm the kind of person who masturbates on a regular basis. That's what you've told yourself. And because you tell yourself this is who I am, you're not surprised when you act in that way. And we talked about this the other day, that if you tell yourself I'm an angry person, you don't get surprised. When you get angry, you say, hey, that's who I am. And you've allowed yourself that definition, this is who I am. So change that definition of who you are. And I'll give you a very simple example. If you're a drinker, you go to the pub with your friends, you go to the bar with your friends order a drink, you don't think, am I allowed or am I not allowed? Your perception tells you, you're a drinker, go for it. The day you decide to stop drinking, you go to the same bar with the same friends, they order a drink, but it's not difficult for you to say no anymore. Why? Because you've changed your perception of yourself. You said, I'm not that person anymore. When you were eating meat, it didn't affect you. You went and you ate meat. The day you decided, I'm going to be a vegetarian, somebody puts some meat in front of you, it's not a temptation, because your perception says, I'm a vegetarian. I've got a new label for myself. My label says I don't eat meat. So you say, sorry, I don't eat meat. The same thing can be done with calm. If you've told yourself, I'm a calm-me person, you will engage in calm. If you change the perception, and this takes a bit of work. I'm saying it like it's a one minute thing, but it's not. But if you actually change the definition of who you are, if you change the definition that I'm a Gursikh and I don't do these things, This is not actually part of who I am. Not that I'm not allowed. I don't do it. I choose not to do it. I've chosen to give up kaam. I've chosen to give up meat. I've chosen to give up alcohol, right? Change that definition within yourself.
So you're empowering yourself.
You're empowering yourself, that's
Not
it.
becoming a slave to the vagina.
Exactly. You actually define your destiny in that sense. Okay? So how do we see ourselves? How we see ourselves define how we act. And repeatedly acting on your lust, creates a habit. And this goes into, I can give you the whole analogy of how habits are created. But you get a sense of it. You do something too many times, you don't have to think about it anymore. It's already become a habit. Yeah? Just a few more. Number one, change the perception of yourself. Number two, change the perception of others. This is what Gurbani tells us to do. Bhai Gurdas Ji says, don't look at another woman like they're a person that you can be lustful towards. Bhai Gurdas Ji is saying that ek nari jati hoye, par nari ti pain vakhane. You are self-restrained when you have one woman. And every other woman is your daughter, your sister, your mother. Partan suwar gaye jo makru Hindu Musalmane. You should look at a woman the way a Muslim looks at pork. They're not tempted by pork. The way a Hindu looks at beef, they're not tempted by beef in the same way the Gurmukh looks at another woman. This is Bhai Gurdas Ji, okay? Dekh paraye changiyan mawa paina tiyan jane. See, so this is the first rule, is change who you think you are, change how you see other people. See the women as your mothers, your sisters. Change your perception of God, rule number 6. And what I mean by this is, like it or not, all of us, majority of us, have created a male God. Yeah? The reason, we don't know why, but over time we've created an idea that God is masculine. So this allows us to be sexual towards women. Because our God, the thing that we matha take to, is slightly male. Gurbani changes that. In Chandi Diwar, Gurbani changes your entire psychology to see God as a female. There's so much praise of Durga in Chandi Diwar that if you read that on a regular basis, you see everything as feminine. Your very worship becomes, you worship the feminine. Does that make sense? When you worship the feminine, then you don't see the feminine as sexual. But we are worshipping something, let's be honest, our God is male. We don't see God as female. What I'm saying to you as a solution is to actively see God as female. If you suffer from kaam, every day make your mantra into Tu Mera Mata. If you walked around, I guarantee, every day saying Tu Mera Mata, Mata, Mata. If you kept saying mother, 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 lust can't enter into that mind, because lust has got a different attraction to women there. With women, you're allowing yourself attraction. But if your whole mindset is Tu Mera Mata, Tu Mera Mata, if you create the very thing of your worship as a feminine God, which Gurbani allows for, Gurbani doesn't condone a male or a female God, but we've managed to create a male God in our minds. Create a female God. This is if you're struggling. Okay? Only a couple of slides left. Rebalance the power struggle. Now, Gurbani says that we have to change our relationship with kaam. What happens when kaam arrives in our mind? When kaam arrives in our mind, we act like a victim. Oh my God, I'm being kaami, like I'm not supposed to do that and I'm supposed to run away from it. And Gurbani says, change that power struggle. Gurbani gives a very interesting shabad where Guru says, you should become more powerful than kaam. I know I'm taking more time, I'm very sorry about this, there's only a couple of slides left. Yeah? Become more powerful than kaam. What we do is kaam is too powerful for us. So we say, kaam, you're too big and I have to fight you. If you fight kaam, it becomes stronger. Gurbani says that there's a very interesting shabad that says that how we have to view kaam is the way a hunter views deers. If you're a hunter and you are looking for deer all day, how does the hunter feel when the deer comes? He gets excited. He's like, finally I can shoot that. Gurbani says that this is how the sant feels when he sees kaam. When kaam comes, we don't think, oh my God, I have to get rid of that kaam. The sant says, thank God that kaam is come, now I can shoot it with my arrow of naam. Okay? And Gurbani actually uses this shabad here. I won't go through it, but there's actually a shabad here. Bilawal, Mahalla Panjwa, Gurbani says that you have to overcome kaam, shoot it with your arrow of naam. Every time kaam comes, say, Bole so nihal, and you're going to ready to shoot that with your naam. We have the tools to fight this kaam. Say again? First two lines of the shabad is Pero Mahalla Panjwa, Das Mirgi Saje Band Ani. So this is saying I easily tied up the 10 deers. The 10 deers are my 5 senses and my 5 sense organs. 2 legs, 2 arms and 1 tongue. Panch Mirga Bedhe Shiv Ki Bani. I shot the deer of my 5 desires with Shiva's arrow of Guru's Bani. Okay, so that's that shabad there. I'll allow you to go through and read that one. Is that shabad?
That might be possible, but I think that's another one.
That could be another one. Okay, so we've got other examples. So the point I'm trying to make is actually get happy when you see kaam, because Guru has already armed you with the weapons to deal with kaam. These are things that you have to do with your mind. Other thing to realize, kaam is just a thought. There's the last 3 slides left. Kaam is just a thought. You can deal with a thought. We think that when kaam comes into our mind, like I have to act on it straight away, like I just really have to masturbate, like it's just too much, I can't deal with it right now. But if the sandwich came in your mind, you're not thinking like that, right? Or maybe you are, like I really need to eat right now. But you have to understand that a thought is just a thought and you can live with it. What you have to understand, a thought has entered your mind, you don't have to engage with that. You can actually say, actually that's just a thought, I can deal with that. Okay, so there's a choice. This has come from a lecture that Jagraj Singh, Basics of Sikhi, did a short video about how to deal with kaam. He says there is a choice between stimulus and response. That I'm feeling excited and I'm actually doing something about it. That isn't one after the other. There's a choice that happens in between. And you don't have to do something about it. You actually have to be in control of your choices. Last 2 slides. Change your crowd. Don't hang around with people that says kaam is okay. Don't hang around with people that actually reinforce it. There are online communities, there's an online movement, if you're particularly dealing with porn addictions and sex addictions, called the No Fap Movement. And the No Fap Movement literally means that there are communities of people that will help and support each other in saying that we are abstaining from masturbation and sexual activity. Okay, so change your crowd, actually join a new sangat. Find a sangat that's supportive of you. Start meditating. Anand Sahib says, "E rasna tu anras rach rahi, teri pyas na jaye." Oh my tongue, when you're engrossed in other tastes, your tastes do not go away. Pyas na jaye hort kite, jichar har ras palle na paye. Until you actually connect with Naam, you're not actually going to be able to deal with this. Har ras paye palle piye har ras, bahut na trishna lage aaye. That if you obtain the essence of Naam, then you don't have a desire for anything else. Gurbani says Naam Simran is a genuine solution to dealing with your kaam. E har ras karmi paye, satgur mile jis aaye. You get this blessed to you. Keh Nanak hor an ras sab visre, ja har vase man aaye. I forgot all other pleasures when I had the pleasure of Waheguru Naam Simran. And the final thing, which goes back to a point that I make, this absolutely final slide, find your bliss. You are in kaam, you are dealing with this emotion because you're not able to deal with the fact that you're losing something in your life, you're missing something in your life. This is an indicator. If you've got a porn addiction, a sex addiction, you need to understand that I have a problem, that I haven't found my bliss in life. Use your dukh as a medicine. You are using lust as an outlet to feel happy about something. Know that you are missing something in your life. My very final point that I want to make is what I've benefited from extremely in my life, and I can recommend a couple of good books around this subject. I've really had a lot of my life changed when I created what I called my happy list. My happy list, I started writing a list many years ago of things that just make me happy. And I don't do this for kaam, I'm doing this for any reason. When I feel a little bit hollow, empty in life, I actually have a list of things that says, what do you enjoy doing? What did you used to enjoy doing? What do you enjoy doing with your children? What don't you enjoy doing with your children? I've made a list that's like at any point that I feel a little bit low, that I have a list that says, I really like walking out in nature. I really like artwork. When you feel low in life and you feel lost and you don't know, and I don't mean like in a big wide sense, like my life is going to pieces. I mean like in every day, when there's just points in your life where you just feel a little bit rubbish and you don't know what to do with yourself. Can I thoroughly recommend you create a list, create your happy list. I have it on my phone. And it's just, what do I enjoy doing? At any point, I can lift myself. And it means that I'm not tempted by doing any of these things. I don't feel like I have to get a pleasure from somewhere else, because I've made a list of stuff that gives me pleasure. I like drawing, I like music, I like listening to this, I like doing this. And I thoroughly recommend it. I'm so sorry if I've covered too much. I'm really sorry if I've said things to offend you. I'm sure there's things in here that you're going to disagree with, but this is my attempt at dealing at a very difficult subject, and apologies to the organizers for going over time. We can talk about it anyway afterwards, but there's not going to be time for questions right now. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.